Nintendo is trying to update their eShop. Keyword, trying. Since the dawn of 2006, Nintendo has been taking baby steps toward having robust digital storefronts on both their home and handheld consoles. We begin with Wii, its WiiWare content, and who can forget Virtual Console? We later got DSiWare, eventually full-on games on 3DS and Wii U. Each step along the way was greeted by a pretty atrocious experience on the user side. Nintendo Switch made some progress on this on some level, a bit of 2 steps forward, 1 step back progress, but progress nonetheless. Namely, we've seen progress by way of a sleeker design. It's a lot snappier. They do a better job of categorizing the titles that are available, but they also went a few steps back. Nintendo understands this now, and we know they know this because they changed it more in the last year than Wii U's changed in the majority of its existence. Even at the start of this week, Nintendo introduced some changes to the eShop. Namely, they added a feature tab that displays 30 of the most popular new and upcoming releases, and the bestsellers section gained the ability to switch between all games and download only games. And they added the ability to see other games developed by the publisher of games that you view in the store. But these, well, they're not exactly the best solutions for their curation problem.
Real quick, see if there's a way to do this. I'm not sure. Yoku here, and see if we can click on, I'm not quite seeing the option.
No hate toward Derek or any of the Game Explain guys. All this does is demonstrate how unintuitive this UI is. I mean, they're Game Explain, and they're having a hard time explaining how to get to these new features. That has to be confirmation that it's not designed too well. Safe to say, there's a lot to be done there. So, with the help of fanatixfour's resident designer Justin, I came up with a few ideas to help move the eShop further in the right direction. And we even have visual representation for a lot of these ideas. Again, courtesy of Justin. Follow him on Twitter at Latham_Justin. Keep in mind, this video isn't meant to tell a 128-year-old entertainment corporation that's been prominent in the gaming industry for longer than a lot of us have even been alive how to do their job. It's all in good fun. It's enjoyable for us, and I'm sure a lot of you, to come up with these what-if scenarios. So try to have fun with this concept, maybe just a little bit. Also, Nintendo's cool with it. We're friends. See, look, we're practically besties. Their words, not ours. First and foremost, let's get to the meat of it all, the content. Nintendo Switch is experiencing a problem that's a very good problem for a gaming platform to have. It's getting a ton of games, especially when compared to any other recent Nintendo platform. And the cadence in games that we'll see will only become bigger and deeper and wider. So, Nintendo has some work to do in helping people get to the content they want once their store becomes more saturated, even if they don't know they want that help. Things like author curated content and recommendations have been pushed by services like Apple Music and Spotify, even the App Store or Google Play. Connecting consumers to rich content from both aspiring indie or even AAA developers can not only improve visibility on games that might have been lost in the shuffle, but possibly recommend your new favorite game. It could also stand to use, prepare for buzzword, machine learning, or if we're being honest, a relatively simple algorithm to serve you recommendations based on your personal taste. Don't just use the games I clicked on once or that I downloaded and never touched. Show me both released and unreleased games related to the games I played the most on my Switch. This is info that's available to them, and it's stored on the console, so they can use this information to give us personal recommendations without having to go full on Google and take all of our data or anything like that. Another aspect, potentially the biggest aspect of this new design that Justin and I collaborated on, is the Hanafuda card inspiration behind it. A big part of Nintendo's current business is bringing the things that we as Nintendo fans loved in their past to modern day. Their games library is and always has been a museum in progress. This idea, I think, could work wonderfully for their UI on the eShop because it's both referential and functional. UX is all about putting the content you want to see in a digital shelf that's intuitively grouped. A lot of this we want to address on the back end, but we also came to the conclusion that grouping them visually would be a good idea. And using a Hanafuda motif to represent the content in the eShop, I feel, is a good solution for a few reasons. This pays homage to their origins as a card company, and it's a good way to visually communicate the difference between a group of related games, one game, other promotions, etc. Beyond that, we should probably have these cards show a brief glimpse of the games in motion, kind of like how they have trailers on the game's listing page on the current eShop, but with brief GIF-like clips that effectively showcase why the game is worth looking into but at a glance. And they shouldn't stop at the digital storefront with these cards. We all know physical media is on its way out, but what if these Hanafuda cards transferred into the real world? They could sell eShop codes for games packaged together with a Hanafuda deck themed around each of the games. Collectors would eat that stuff up. And I think it makes it a bit easier to swallow having to pay a physical price for a digital product. Just look at these things. Also, it could be a good compromise for Nintendo to bringing back a bit of physical rewards for their My Nintendo Rewards program. Most of these omissions are things that I feel added a lot of personality and charm to Nintendo's past eShops. And if there's anything that Nintendo has in spades everywhere else, it's personality and charm. That's lacking on Switch. Now, it's not completely gone. Things like the songs that are created when using sounds from the OS is very Nintendo. But outside of that, the Switch as a whole is pretty void of any of their quirky charm. Of course, a lot of that was a direct result of Nintendo modernizing the eShop, but I'd say they ended up throwing out the baby with the bathwater. They can maintain things like theme music and playful animations for download screens. Granted, you have the option to download in the background, so not everyone will be seeing these animations, but that didn't stop them from implementing it on the 3DS, so I don't think it has to stop them here. For instance, what if instead of the current lifeless loading bar, it alternated between a few Nintendo themed animations that are in some way related to the game you're downloading? If you're downloading a shooter, have the animation be a tank of Splatoon ink filling up. Or for platformers, bring back the OG Mario block animation from the Wii Shop. Or for a fighting game, have Little Mac doing a workout routine. I'm sure you get the idea. Sure, this will take a bit more work than is absolutely necessary, but so did including the Mario Galaxy Observatory theme in Mario Odyssey, or making Luigi glare at competing racers in Mario Kart 8, or any of the Easter eggs they love to implement in the games they love to create. Nintendo polish is a term for a reason, folks, and I think that is missing from the Switch eShop in its current state. And if we're being honest, the Switch UI as a whole, but that's another video altogether. I get that Nintendo wants to be reminiscent of Apple's approach to their UI, but I think a middle ground is possible. A subtle background theme never hurt anyone. Add more lively animations between menus. Of course, make sure these animations aren't too drastic or enough to really bog down the operating system on a functional level. Just make them enough to be noticeable. I think the Switch Online integration should be another focus of this redesign. It needs to be integrated in a way that's not intrusive for non-subscribers, but also visible for people to see, so if they want to subscribe but don't know it exists, they'll know where to find it. We already know that Nintendo Switch Online subscribers will have access to the Nintendo Classics library, as well as exclusive deals. These, of course, need to be communicated well in some way. They'll definitely want to advertise these perks to non-subscribers, so rather than making another tab, they should just consolidate those deals into the pre-existing deals tab, which honestly should be a given. And for the Nintendo Classics library, I think that should just be represented by a stack of cards on the main page at all times. For non-subscribers, I don't know, an ad for Switch Online? Who knows? Now, before you comment, keep in mind that not every Switch user is going to be as savvy as you likely are. Not everybody is going to be as informed on games as somebody that spends time watching videos, learning about games, researching about games, etc. And that's okay. Okay? Moving on. I want Nintendo to get someone that understands modern UI and someone that understands what it takes to inject charm into those modern designs. We can keep new, modern, sleek Nintendo without completely losing kooky, whimsical Nintendo if given the right team. That would keep them separate from the pack, because I'm sure most of us want Nintendo to be more modern and attractive to adults that like video games, but we'd also be kind of bummed if Nintendo went full on Apple. Besides, you're never too old for a bit of fun and whimsy. If you think you are, you ain't never seen a Pixar movie before. Like I said at the beginning of the video, they're a 128-year-old video game company. I'm just a guy on the internet that likes talking about video games and has a little bit of education pertaining to UX and UI and the like. With that being said, it doesn't take an expert to identify a problem, but it does take an expert to fix that problem. But those are my thoughts. What do you think about this Nintendo eShop concept? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let us know that and more in the comments down below. You can dislike it, that's fine. But if you like it, make sure to like the video and share this video with a friend who also thinks the Nintendo Switch eShop needs a redesign. Or just someone who likes concepts, I guess. Looking for more content? Go to our website, fanatixfour.com. We have a ton more stuff, both written and video, from our team here at Fanatix4. New videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Podcasts every Saturday. E3 is going to be crazy. Plan is to have new videos every day that week. Subscribe for that. Ring the bell so you can be notified when it goes up. Okay, that's it for me. See you next week.